Yes, time to finally review my most anticipated movie of the year besides the obvious one right there. The Disaster Artist is directed by James Franco and stars James Franco in the role of Tommy Wiseau. It also stars Dave Franco, his baby brother, as Greg Sestero. The movie pretty much follows the story of Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero as they move to Los Angeles, want to become actors. They decide to make their own movie, which ended up being The Room, and it follows their relationship and the behind the scenes of the making of The Room, all leading up to the premiere. This is based off the book of the same name, The Disaster Artist, by Greg Sestero, which pretty much documented all the behind the scenes stuff of The Room and his relationship with Tommy Wiseau. And if you guys don't know The Room, it's one of the most infamous, if not the most iconic bad movie out there, right? Like, it is the Citizen Kane of bad movies. It is truly something special. If you've never seen The Room, holy shit. But that's a review for another time. And actually, me doing this review right now has thrown my schedule completely out of whack, because I was actually going to review The Room right after I got finished doing the Superman and Batman reviews. But I got to see an early screening for The Disaster Artist, and hey, I want to get my review out there as soon as possible, so I'm reviewing The Disaster Artist first. I heard a lot about this movie. I was super excited to see it, but I was a little skeptical at points, because The Room is a movie that holds a special place in my heart, not in the good way though, just in the fact that it's so shitty that I love it. Whenever people watch The Room, you just have to ask yourself, what the hell happened? How did this end up becoming the way it did? So the reason I was nervous about this movie in particular is because James Franco was in it as Tommy Wiseau, and he's director. I don't know how James Franco does as a director, at least before this movie, so that was more than enough reason for me to be a little skeptical, and it just had a lot of Apatow people working on it. But, much to my surprise, not only did they really take this movie seriously, and really stay faithful to the book and show off their love for The Room, but it's my favorite movie of the year so far. Funny, I said that with Blade Runner 2049, that was my favorite movie of the year. Now The Disaster Artist is that. Let's see if something else tops The Disaster Artist. We still got 2 months left, so anything could happen. But anyway, the biggest surprise for this movie is how much James Franco showed respect to this book and the behind the scenes of The Room. James Franco actually does a phenomenal job in the director's chair, and what I love about it is that this could easily have been just a giant bashing of Tommy Wiseau. Like, you could easily go the route of, yeah, The Room sucks, let's kind of make fun of how bad The Room is and how weird Tommy Wiseau is. Because when you read all the stuff about the behind the scenes of The Room, or hell, whenever you just watch the movie, the joke's right itself. There's no real way you can really parody The Room because it kind of does the job itself. But what James Franco decides to do with this movie is treat it like Ed Wood, and I'm talking about the Tim Burton movie Ed Wood. What Tim Burton did with Ed Wood was take this guy who you could easily make fun of for all the terrible movies he's done, particularly Plan 9 from Outer Space, but he decides to celebrate his work and say that, look, this guy may have had some shitty movies, but he had a dream. He, just like any one of us out there, wanted to make it big in Hollywood, and maybe not in the way he intended to, he succeeded. And that's exactly what The Disaster Artist is. It's so easy to make fun of Tommy Wiseau just because he's so weird, but because of James Franco's excellent direction and his amazing performance as Tommy Wiseau, you do kind of sympathize with him at points. And instead they celebrate the fact that The Room ended up being this worldwide phenomenon. Again, maybe not in the way that Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero intended it to be, but the fact that people are still talking about this movie and seeing it 14 years later is a real testament to how it stood the test of time. And when it comes to James Franco as Tommy Wiseau, he's excellent. There are points where you just have to double take and go, wait a minute, no, that's James Franco. That's not Tommy Wiseau, because he's so good. He gets the accent down. He gets the mannerisms down. Hell, he even has the same physique and ass that Tommy Wiseau has. In a way, it's kind of creepy looking that he's so similar to Tommy Wiseau in this whole movie, but hey, excellent performance right there. Could it be an Oscar-worthy performance? It's too soon to say. We'll see how the rest of the year goes, but he's just still great. And everyone else in this movie is really good. You got a lot of other people in here like Seth Rogen, Alison Brie. You got some people in here you wouldn't even recognize, like Josh Hutcherson, Zac Efron, and the other main actor in the movie is Dave Franco, who plays Greg Sestero. I had an issue with Dave Franco as Greg Sestero to begin with because he just didn't look that much like him. His voice didn't sound much like him. But as the movie went on, and especially when you actually look at a picture of Greg Sestero and Dave Franco in this movie, you go, yeah, he kind of looks like him in a way. So Dave Franco was a case where he started off kind of but he just got better as the movie went along. One thing that I need to point out is that this movie is hilarious. Like, it is the funniest movie I've seen this year. And a lot of this is due to the fact that I've seen The Room multiple times. I know that movie inside and out. So the second this movie started, I was giggling, especially with the first scene where they interview a lot of people, famous people like Kristen Bell, Kevin Smith, Adam Scott, and even J.J. Abrams. It's pretty much a bunch of talking head interviews where they're talking about a certain movie. They never say it by name, but you know exactly what they're talking about. The rest of the movie is hysterical. And for me, all the laughs come from the segments where they're actually making The Room, because we get to see a lot of famous or infamous moments from The Room and how they actually came to fruition. Like Johnny having sex with Lisa's belly button, the very famous "I did not hit her, it's not true, it's bullshit" line. And the weird moment where Mark is talking to Johnny about this woman he knows that got sent to a hospital, and he just laughs like, ha 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 ha. We get to see all those weird scenarios, and it's still one of those things, like, even though it's in the book, and this movie's pretty accurate to the book, you just can't believe it. I know the behind the scenes of The Room because I've read the book, but even then, you still can't believe all this shit happened, and it's hilarious. But again, it never comes across as cruel, and that's one of the big credits to give to James Franco for not going down that route. Now, I'm actually having a difficult time trying to find something that I didn't like about the movie. The only thing that I can even think of that would be a negative is something that I hate to do when it comes to movies that are based off books. Basically, compare the movie to the book. There is one little detail in the book where all the women who auditioned for the role of Lisa were required to make out with Tommy Wiseau. I get why they may have cut that out, because that's just downright creepy. And given the current atmosphere of what's going on in Hollywood right now, it's just one of those things where you go, ooh, that's a no-no. And even with that little nugget of information cut out, this is a damn accurate representation of the book. And again, like I said, it's my favorite movie of the year. The performances are outstanding. The directing is great. It's so hilarious. And it just leaves you with a very good feeling in the end. And in a way, it might kind of inspire you. This is the Ed Wood of the 21st century. It does a good job at poking fun at Tommy Wiseau and the bizarre making of The Room. But again, it never comes across as cruel, and instead celebrates Tommy Wiseau for making The Room and the entire legacy the movie has. So this is going to be no surprise to anyone. I said it's my favorite movie of the year, beating out Blade Runner, which I gave my highest rating to, so obviously this gets my highest rating. Get off your ass and go see this right now. The movie is actually supposed to come out December 1st. But once it comes out, you have to go see it. If you love The Room, you're gonna love this. Even if you've never seen The Room or never heard of it, you're really going to enjoy this as well, because I saw it with somebody who had not seen The Room, had no desire to see The Room, and she really liked it. So yeah, not much else to say. I love it. Now, before I finish this video, I want to address something that everyone in LA probably knows of. If you remember back when The Room came out, they had that giant, bizarre billboard with Tommy Wiseau's face, and it stayed up there for a long time. Well, in prep for The Disaster Artist being released, there's a similar billboard up on Highland and Santa Monica that features James Franco as Tommy Wiseau, and it has a phone number there that you could call. And I actually did call this number at first, but for some reason I was looking down at the camera. I called the number now. So we're having the phone ring. And the reason I'm doing take 2 of this is my second attempt, is because I kept looking down at the phone instead of the camera. So unfortunately, you're not going to get an authentic reaction to this phone call. But anyway, here's what you're getting once it stops ringing.
Tommy Wiseau. Wow, everyone's so excited about amazing movie Billboard. My phone rang all day, night, never stop. Stop, but like I said, busy guy. Text me a story about your life. Maybe I have an answer to problems. Who knows? You never know if you don't try.
The mailbox is full and cannot accept any messages at this time. Goodbye.
See, there you go. That's supposed to be Tommy Wiseau, but it sounds like James Franco as Tommy Wiseau and not actually Tommy Wiseau. But apparently he does answer the phone. I missed the opportunity. This is what I get for recording this review too late. But, well, technically this is an early review for the movie since it comes out December 1st. Whatever. The point is, I missed out. Anyway, that's my review for The Disaster Artist. Look for my review for The Room, which I will be doing in costume as Tommy Wiseau. That will go up on Wednesday. I'm so excited to talk about The Room itself. And until next time, I hope you enjoyed this review. Leave a comment down below and tell me what your thoughts are on The Disaster Artist, if and when you've seen it. And as always, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one.